So my inspirational moment tonight is about gratitude. My son called last year and invited me to go with him on a 1-week survival course. Now, it's not the kind of survival if you watch TV. It's not man versus wild. We weren't going to get voted off the island, and we weren't going to be naked and afraid. The course is sponsored by Tom Brown Jr., who I've known his writings for many years, and there were 2 goals of this course. One is to learn specific survival skills, and the second is to practice an awareness that would help us survive in the wild and also help us thrive in our daily lives. So he had learned these skills from an Apache Indian that he grew up with. And during the course, if there was a moment in which awareness was in question, the keystone word was grandfather. The specific skills that we practiced included building shelter, making rope from natural materials, camouflage, finding medicinal and edible plants, building traps, tracking, and building fire, getting fire. The last one was problematic for me. My son got fire within a day or 2. It just wasn't happening for me until we got to the end of the camp. The wood piece that I used, the last one that I used, looked like this. And you can see that I was carving many different holes, and I carved many different spindles, which are turned by a bow like that. And so I kneeled down for the last opportunity, and I really wanted to have this. It's such an ancient process. It was so important to our natives for millennia. People have done that, and I wanted to have that experience. Our own Barbara Mossberg has a podcast, and it's called The Poetry Slowdown. And one of the episodes is The Days on Fire. And she quotes Rumi as saying, our task is not to find love. Our task is to find the barriers that we've built against it. So what was my barrier about getting fire? Well, my son Kellen came over, I was about to start, and he said, remember grandfather. And I knew then exactly what the problem was. And I stopped and I said, thanks for the so many things that I'd had, that I was experiencing that week, that fabulous week with my son. And when I did that, when I shifted to gratitude, I felt completely different. And the movement of the bow felt different, and the turn of the spindle. And after a while, it began to smoke, and a little ember fell out of the crack in the side into the tinder that was below. And I invited Kellen to breathe life into that tinder, which he did, and we got fire. And there was a big cheer, and I looked up and noticed for the first time that everybody had gathered around us, and they'd been silently cheering us on. So we took the burning tinder and took it over to a fire that had been built over stones that were going to heat the sweat lodge that was our evening experience at the end of camp. And so, throwing it into that larger fire, Kellen and I shared a big embrace. And I have that embrace with me still. And I also have the knowing that if we can shift our focus from striving to gratitude, we really can get fire. Thank you.